Hey y'all, hey.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Librarian. Today is April 7th. It's April, y'all. And just so you know, it's my birthday month and I'm celebrating all month long. So people back there in TV land, definitely send me gifts. I take them gifts.
Cash App, Venmo.
Cash App, Venmo, damn. Starbucks? Yes. Look, the audience knows me because they call out all my favorite things. Some of the announcements for this month are Lovejoy is hosting a family event day today from 12 to 5. Tonight at the headquarters library, we have Bad Art Night. So if you're not good at being an artist, per me, definitely come down and make some terrible art because it's fun. Intro to Python is going to be at our Forest Park location on April 9th. And Outside the Barn series, part 3. So part 3 will be this Saturday from 11 to 1. And that's all the announcements that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and let it do what it do. Director Scott.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Good morning.
I know it's a rainy, beautiful day outside, and we're going to kick this off like we normally do. So once again, thank you for tuning in, those in the audience. I'm Scott Parham. I'm the director for the Clayton County Library System. And we usually start off the segment by responding to any questions that have been submitted online. So, Kim, are there any questions that have come in ahead of time?
Yes, we have questions that came in, but I forgot to do one thing when I was making my announcements. So we have some great pastries over here for our patrons to partake in as they enjoy Coffee with the Librarian, and they were provided to us by Miss Melissa Brown,
Thank
the
you, Ms.
owner
Melissa.
and operator of Cameron Cakes. Yay, Miss Melissa, thank you. And I know you're not doing this right now, but she got a sweet potato brownie over here.
I'm trying to get college fine again.
I understand. I'm gonna have yours.
Okay.
Okay. So the first question is, how can we reserve the bookmobile?
Good question. As most of you should know, the end of February, we took into possession our brand new bookmobile. And we are super excited about getting it out into the community, different outreach events, having it in locations throughout the county where we currently don't have a physical library location or library branch. So our new virtual services coordinator has put up on our website a location where you can request the bookmobile to come to your location. There is criteria, however. The bookmobile is not a small vehicle, and so we have to have enough space to spread out to offer the programs and offerings that are contained on the bookmobile. So go to the website. If you have any additional questions, please drop us a line or give us a call, and we can go ahead and take that information.
Our next question is, what is the importance of National Library Week?
Even better question. And I hope everyone out there in YouTube land, if you don't know, this week is National Library Week across the United States. That's why I have folks like that. So all across the United States, folks are celebrating libraries of all kinds. And it's no mystery. Libraries have been under attack recently, last several years. There are folks who think that what we provide, the resources, the influence that people perceive we have on some is not actually what it is. There's legislation, not only local, statewide, but nationally, that is geared at disrupting the public library and what we offer to our communities. Just here in Georgia, there was a Senate bill that fortunately did not pass, but it was trying to, it was trying to criminalize librarians in the state for materials that parents should be policing their children of checking out. They were referring to it as materials being harmful to children. But again, what's harmful for this family may not be harmful for another family. Again, it is a parent decision on what their child accesses and checks out from the library. Most libraries nowadays also have a form of self-check machines or self-check kiosks. we can't police everything that is checked out through a self-service kiosk. So again, some of the legislation that is being looked at, is being pushed. We have to have library supporters of all kind come out, talk to your representatives, talk to your politicians, your legislators, and let them know what the value is of the public libraries to their communities. So this is a week that we will celebrate libraries throughout the United States, and most definitely here in Clayton County.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer.
Thank you.
That is actually all the questions that we have. So
And I'm
we'll get
sure we
started.
might have some more coming in, so that's all good.
Yes.
And so I guess at this time, what I would like to do is to introduce, or have her introduce, the wonderful things that she is doing. And we will talk with our special guest, Dr. Ianta Burks. Ianta Burks. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Round of applause.
Thank you for having me join you. I'm very excited about being here with you. Anytime I can get you before someone to spread information about public health, I'm excited about it.
Wonderful.
So as he said, I am Dr. Ianta Burks. I am the soul of public health. Why am I the soul of public health? Because I'm here for you to get the information. I'm a trusted person. I work in the community to help educate you about health and wellness. I partner with the doctors. I partner with our local hospital, Southern Regional, right here. I also host a podcast called the Rhythm Notes of Health podcast, where we speak with doctors. We ask them questions. I don't let them use a big word because my job is to empower you so that when you go to the doctor, you can ask questions and feel comfortable about subject matter. I'm also excited to say that I've recently have a partnership with Clark Atlanta University. I don't know if most know, but they have a prostate cancer center there. And I will be partnering with them to help them just get out into the community and help to educate the students about starting early about prevention and awareness. So I'm very excited about that partnership. So I'm here to talk to you in the gloomy weather, and I'm excited.
Wonderful to have you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Talk about your organization, Pink and Black. Give us a little bit about that.
I'm Blackpink.
Blackpink, yes.
So I started.
I can see I've got on my black.
You see
pants.
that? I love it. And then I was the podcast cover, so I love that. But thank you for the details. So Blackpink is a nonprofit.
Okay.
I'm 9 years old this year, and the goal, I started the nonprofit, it's called Blackpink because it was the power of Black, the softness of pink, because I did breast cancer research in graduate school. And we did the connection of vitamin D deficiencies with cancer. And so from that, I learned that a lot of people were getting cancer, a lot of people of color were getting cancer because they didn't have the resource to get the mammograms done. So hence I started the nonprofit Blackpink just to help women who did not have the money get a mammogram, and not only that, but get a mammogram reading. Because you can get the mammogram done, but if you don't have a doctor to read it, it's not getting the mammogram done.
Right.
So I started it that way, but once I started going out educating people, the men was like, "But what about us?" Right? So early on in my second year, I started to do men's health as well. So I become this trusted voice. I also help them to get exams with prostate exams. So the nonprofit helps the community. We help to educate. We do a lot of health fairs, and the nonprofit helps in that way as well.
Great, great. For those that have not been paying attention and may not be aware, there are health disparities in the United States between race, class, and this is not something new. This is historical and has been for some time. How can we start to bridge that gap?
Recently, I listened to one of your podcasts with our new commissioner, and she said one of her seeds was collaboration. And so I'm a really big proponent of collaborating. So because there's only one of me, right? And so the only way that we get out into the community and start to put a dent on health disparities is to partner together. Hence is why I partner with the doctors, I partner with the hospitals, because we all have to come together. Sometimes they come to me and they say, "Hey, listen, I have a group of people, they have hypertension or they're diabetic and they won't listen to me," right? Because we know that when you talk to people and you look like them, it's like, okay, I trust her, I'll talk to her.
Right.
So sometimes I go and I do classes to just help educate from trust. So I think, to answer your question, the way that we start to put a bigger dent is that we know that everyone has a place, everyone's role is important, and to collaborate so that our voice is louder.
Great, wonderful. If a person has had an adverse interaction with a particular physician or a particular healthcare provider, are there recommendations that you can provide so that they don't just say, toss it to the wind, they still get the necessary servicing that they need?
So that's a very good question. And I get that question a lot because I do a lot of referrals, because people say, if you referral, they're a good doctor. So can we get a referral with you? I often, and I kind of experience this too, because I don't go to the doctor's office and I don't say, I'm Dr. Burks and I'm public health. I go in there as a layman person, if you will, as a person who has no experience, no background. And oftentimes the doctors, they come in and they're there for a second and they're gone. You feel intimidated because they're using big words. I would say, what I say to the doctor is that I'm not clear what you're saying. So if we could just take a moment to talk. I do give them that moment to gather themselves, if you will, to say, okay, let me talk to her. She wants to know more. Some people don't want to know more. Some people say, if the doctor said this, I'm okay with that, I'm going, right? But a lot of people, because of Google, we call it Google doctors,
Dr. Google, yeah.
they're Dr. Google, they want to know because they're afraid because they've read something on Google, may be accurate, may not be accurate. So I think the first thing to do, because I have a lot of doctor friends, right? I have an advisory board of 14 doctors, right? And so I partner with the doctors, I talk to the doctors. They also tell me their needs and what they need from people. But I also say, when you're choosing a doctor, choose a doctor, do an interview just like you like going to a job. You know what I mean?
Because one of my next questions was, are there questions we should ask
Absolutely.
during that interview process?
Absolutely. I think that some people need doctors who don't talk.
Okay.
That's not me. I want to know, talk to me, what are you talking about, right? And so when I refer people to doctor, I refer based on their personalities of who are you, what are you looking for, right? So I think one of the main questions for me, being a public health advocate and educator, is I say you should go to a doctor who understands that you're connected from your top of your head to the bottom of your feet, right?
Okay.
And not just it's your heart, and not just it's your eyes, and not just it's your knee, but everything is connected, right? And so I look for doctors who take a holistic approach. And by holistic, I mean doctors who understand that you're connected all together. Because sometimes you go in, you say something's wrong. It may just be you didn't sleep. I had a headache. I just had this bad headache. But you may be dehydrated, right? So they need to have a doctor who understands that we're connected. And that would be one of the main questions. What is your approach to prevention, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your approach to healing? And I like doctors who also just don't write prescriptions or what we call synthetic drugs, or for the drugstore that you get from the drugstore, made in the chemical labs. I like doctors who also take a holistic approach and say, well, you can take this herb, but let me just say this with a caveat. When something's wrong, you probably need a synthetic drug to get it back to balance. Okay. For maintenance, you can probably take some herbs or those things. So those are some questions I would ask doctors, right? And I also say it's okay to see the PA.
Okay.
Really and truly, they give you a little bit more detail than a doctor, and they have to partner with the doctor.
Sure.
So they don't just see you on their own. They partner with the doctors, because I have people say, I don't want to see the PA. But they're going to be more personable also.
Can you give a little info about what a PA is?
Okay, I'm sorry. That's a very good question. A PA is that's a very good question. A PA is a physician assistant. So they go to school also to get their undergraduate degree in biology or chemistry, but they also go another 2 years to get a master's, if you will, instead of going to get the medical degree. So they work under a medical doctor. They work under a medical doctor. Sometimes they can do prescriptions, but the doctor has to sign off on it. Okay. And the doctor also has to look at the notes. They're supposed to look at all the notes of the patients that they see. They're supposed to be an assistant to the to the doctor.
Great.
So they are good because they normally pay attention to you. They're going to give you a little more details. So I would say that now I want to see the doctor sometimes.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But if you can't get in to see the doctor, you have something going on, a physician assistant or a PA, it's a very good choice.
Great. You mentioned, I'm going to circle back because you mentioned something that I think we, as a library and library professionals, really need to hone in on. Where can folks find trusted information online about health and about medical issues and resources.
You have all the good questions.
I don't want folks to think that going to Dr. Google is the end all be all, because as you pointed out, everything on Google is not accurate, is not true. So do you have some authoritative sites or references that folks could use?
Absolutely. I tell the general population that WebMD is a very good source.
Okay.
They really and truly have medical professions. They really and truly have research-based doctors that are there that can help and would help you to answer questions in detail.
Okay.
As for me, I look at research-based things because I need to be able to, I look at papers and articles, right? That's who I am. I need to know, you did this research, who did you do it with, what group of people, how many people? Because I want to be able, when I bring information to you, is this something that has been done? How long has it been? Has it been repeated? So for me, I do a lot of articles or research, and you can Google, like I want an article about hypertension or high blood pressure, or I want an article about diabetes. You can Google that. You'll see a lot of them. And you can say, oh, I want one about what happens if you're diabetic and you're about to lose your foot or something like that. Because that's something that happens here in our county, right? So you can Google specifically what you want, but you can say, I want it in an article, right? Or research, and it'll give you that.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very important that we pay special attention to the resource or the link that is providing that information. Make sure it's from a reputable source.
That's correct.
Great. So switching gears a little bit,
Okay.
what are some preventative screenings that our community could ask for or partake when they go to see their primary care physician, or when they go to the doctor?
So we're in April. We're in April, so we're 4 months into the year. And the first thing that I tell people is that everyone should have a physical. So we're 4 months in the year. I think I spoke with you before. I said we're in October. Everyone should have had their physicals by now,
Right.
or they have only a couple months. So we're 4 months in. Everyone should either have had their physicals or have them scheduled.
Okay.
And the importance of a physical is that the doctor, you go to your family doctor or your internist, and they're going to check everything about you, right? And they're going to check your blood. They're going to check your blood pressure. They're going to check your reflexes, all of these things. And so that's a very important preventive, is because if you go and get this physical done and your blood pressure's up and you don't know it, it's like, okay, now I know my blood pressure's up, right? And the other thing is for women, of course, is your mammograms.
Okay.
They should be done yearly, starting at the age of 45.
Okay.
Your mammogram should be done
Yeah, I hear
yearly
that.
for women, right?
45.
That's correct. And so I get a lot of women who say they're afraid to get the mammogram done, and it doesn't take long. I talk my way through it every time. They're like, here she comes, because I don't like getting it done either. But it's actually a tool that's actually used that can also prevent cancer if something's there. I should also say for women, while we're talking about mammograms, that you should be touching your breast monthly at the same time every month to feel if there's something that wasn't there. I often get the questions like, how do you know if it's something that I'm feeling? The only way that you know that is that you're feeling every month. So if something new comes up, you can say, hey, I didn't feel this last month, and then you can get your doctor. So the only way that you know that is that every month, put it in your calendar. You want to have these nice phones, put it in your calendar once a month to touch your boobies and fill them up. And so you can say, how do they feel, right? And then get your mammograms.
Right.
And for men, you should be getting your PSA or your prostate screen, right? And that starts at 45. But if you have a history of prostate cancers in your family, really and truly, we're starting to tell people to start at the age of 40 because it has become very aggressive, and it could be because we're in COVID and people weren't going. We don't know, but it is important that if you have a family history of prostate cancer, that you get that done early, and that should be done yearly as well, because a lot can happen with the prostate. And I should also say that I have podcasts specifically for these particular subject matters.
Okay.
That if you want more detail about them, you can go to the podcast to hear about them.
Okay.
And then I want to talk about your colonoscopy, because that's very, very important, because it is the most preventable cancer. Everybody hear me? It's the most preventable cancer, colon cancer. And all you need to do is go get that colon screening. If the doctor sees something, they snip it, they burn it, and you're done. But what happens is most people don't go get their colonoscopy. So then it is advanced, and now you're probably gonna die, or you have to go through a whole bunch of chemo and those things, when all you needed to do was get your screening. And that should start at 45 as well, especially if you're of color. It should start at the age of 45. I do have a podcast, again, about that. I tell you that because it's important. And Afro-descendants, or if you will, African-Americans, for us, the doctor talks about that our colon is a little more S-shaped, right?
Okay.
And because it is, things can be missed. So it's important that you go and get your screening done. Once you get it done, they may say, come back 5 years. They may say, come back 3 years. They may say, come back 2 years. Whatever they tell you, it's important to go back. That means they see something, they want to watch it, and they want, remember I told you, it's the most preventable cancer. So make sure that you're getting your colonoscopy.
Great. And I'm gonna back up a little bit because I also have a science background.
Okay.
Prostate.
Mhm.
What is prostate and what is a PSA?
Oh,
PSA test.
that's a very good question. So most men don't know what prostate is, right? And that's why I have a podcast that specifically talk about what is the prostate, right? And what is the PSA? And what is it that we need this prostate for? So prostate is, of course, a male organ that's used to hold. Now, I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail. You can kind of just go and check out the prostate that I do with the urologist, and he partners with me to do a lot of things. But the prostate is something that actually men can actually live without.
Yes.
Right, so we learned that in the prostate, you can live without your prostate. So if you're having some problems with them, you can live without it. But it is, without going into a lot of details,
It's a male gland.
It's a male gland.
Right. It's only in men.
It's only in
And
men.
again, as you are having these screenings done, there are tests that can be run, the PSA, and it used to be where it was an actual exam, but they've advanced to where they can draw blood now for your PSA screenings on an annual basis. And so it's very important to get that value from the PSA so that you can know where you stand. And if it's elevated, we have some things to be concerned about. If it's within range, again, you'll know. And so I just want folks to know and not be afraid.
No, absolutely. So I want to kind of throw in here that the PSA, of course, is the blood test. They take your blood. But when we're talking about men of color, it is very important that you also have the test, actually what they're physically, the exam itself. It is very important for men of color to actually have that exam as well. You're gonna get a lot of doctors say, I get a lot of patients because I'm only doing blood, but it sometimes meets.
Yeah.
And the most important part of doing the actual physical test is that, again, just like touching your boobies, if you feel something that's not there, if they feel something, they specifically know the feeling of how it should feel.
Sure. Right?
And if they feel some rigidness and it's not smooth, then they know, oh, I want to do some additional tests. So again, the podcast kind of talks about that in detail. But that's very important that we get that blood test, but we also get the physical test that goes along with the prostate.
Great. And I'm gonna switch up some more gears here.
Okay.
What does health equity mean to you?
I live in Clayton County, right? And I have been here in Clayton County. I probably didn't say I went to undergrad at Tuskegee. I also went to Georgia State and got my doctorate online from Capella. But I have lived in Clayton County for 23 years, right? And when we talk about health equity, one of the main points that I want for everyone here to understand is that everyone should all have the same choices when it comes to choosing doctors, right? When it comes to going to the hospital, we should get the same treatment, right? Everyone, it doesn't matter what county that you're in. For instance, there's a place here in Clayton County, if they check your blood pressure, they'll say 130 over 90 is good, right? But if I go to another county, they'll say your blood pressure is high, right? That's not health equity. Health equity is the mainframe for your blood pressure should be 120 over 80, right? And that if it's not there, it doesn't matter that in your county, If they're elevated up, it's okay because the majority of the people here, they're not eating right, and so it's elevated up, right? So health equity is the blood pressure is high, right? How do we get it down? It doesn't matter the county that you're in. And that's what I want the people in Clayton County to know, is that we should get the same treatment that everyone gets when it comes to our health, when it comes to our wellness, when it comes to our hospital. Right now, we have a really good CEO. She partners with me. She understands it. She understands about our county and what we need, right? And so she is really a person of color who understands what we need with people of color to have health equity. Right. So I think the most important is that everyone is the same, really and truly, and when it comes to health and wellness.
Wonderful. And I'm gonna piggyback on that.
Okay.
How does anxiety tie in to not having health equity?
How does anxiety tie in?
If you're not well, health-wise, how does that affect your mental state? If you're physically unwell, again, you know about depression, there's anxiety, they're connected, they tie into one another.
Everything is connected.
Exactly.
You know, I was telling you about your head
to your bottom of your feet.
Everything is connected. And anxiety, right, can trigger a lot of things, right? It can trigger a headache. It can trigger, my mom always says, it's raining, her arthritis is going to act up, right? She's anticipating it. Well, I'm not going tomorrow because it's going to rain. And I should say she's probably watching, so I'm going to say, happy early birthday, Mom. Her birthday is the 19th while I'm talking about her. But she's going to say, it's going to be raining, and, she's already anticipating she can't go somewhere, right? So now she's got anxiety, and maybe her back may not be hurting that day, but she's already told her brain that the back gonna hurt, and so now the back hurting. So now when I want her to go somewhere, I'll say, Mom, well, they said it's supposed to rain that day, so I'm not sure if you're really gonna go. So I say it to say it. I say it jokingly is because everything starts here with your mental, with anxiety, right? And I think that and that's why I do what I do, to try to calm people, to try and empower you with information. So, because a lot of the anxiety comes from you being intimidated by it, right? Because the doctors use a lot of big words. What do they mean? What are they talking about? So a lot of our anxiety when it comes to health equity comes from, I don't understand what you're saying, right? And so that's why I do what you do, to try to help you understand, so that you can take some control there. Because just understanding, listen, I'm gonna use myself for example. The majority of something that's wrong with me, 80% is my mental. I don't know what it is, right? The moment I know what it is I'm probably better, right? So my mind has, and most of my friends are like that, because you'll learn that people that know a lot, and the doctors, they say they arrest patients. The doctors, we know a lot. So if we get one thing wrong, it's like, oh my gosh, what is it, right? And so 80% of something's wrong with me is my mental. Like, what is it? So which is also controlling. I don't know what's going on, right? Like recently, my side was hurt, and I was like, I don't know, it may be my liver. I was taking those Tylenol. I don't know, but my liver's not on my left side; it's on my right side. So I had already killed myself off from having, my liver. So I said that jokingly to say that, your mental controls your whole entire body, right? And so I do a breathing exercise. You see, I wear this. I think I gave you guys one, say take 5 deep breaths 5 times a day, because the breathing really and truly helps you to settle your nerves down in your body, right? My daughter, who's getting ready to graduate, she just recently took the MCAT. She goes, I kept breathing, and I said, when you find something that you're nervous, choose one letter, but breathe, keep breathing, because we really stop breathing a lot during the day. You don't even realize that you do. You stop breathing a lot during the day. So just make sure that you're being intentional about breathing. And if you're breathing 5 times a day, you're going to really get this oxygen flowing in your brain and through your cells to help you feel better, to calm down anxiety. Anxiety is a real thing. And we also say, if it gets too bad, to also seek out professional help, right? Because everybody can't breathe through it. Right. So when you can't breathe through it, get help. But I think to answer your question is just learning to breathe, right? And then just learning to identify what it is that's bothering you. Did everybody hear me? Identify what it is that's bothering you. Because remember, I said 80% of what's going on with me is what is it, right? Once you identify what it is, or sometimes I'm somewhere and I feel a feeling and I don't know what I'm feeling, and something has triggered my brain, right? And I don't know what it is, and I got to figure out what it is. Once I figure out what it is, now I can settle myself down. It's like, oh, okay, I hear a dog barking. I'm afraid of dogs. And now I've got anxiety, right? So I hear a dog in the distance. So it's important to identify what it is that's causing the fear or causing this instant
Right.
resistance of moving forward. And that's what anxiety is.
Got it.
It's an instant resistance of moving forward.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. We got a couple more for you.
Okay.
And I know we've talked, when you presented at our staff development day, you talked at length about a couple of deficiencies, magnesium and vitamin D. Would you mind giving us some more information about those two?
Absolutely. So vitamin D is how I started my nonprofit. Everyone in this room is vitamin D deficient. Let me just start out by saying that unless you're taking some supplements or you're taking a shot, you're vitamin D deficiency, because your vitamin D levels that you need, you get it from the sun, right? It's D3, you get it from the sun. And the majority of us cannot get enough vitamin D from the sun that needs to penetrate in our cells. And vitamin D, and if you're deficient, you may feel sluggish, you may not be sleeping well, you may be irritable, and just having that vitamin D level where it should be, then you're feeling better. So when you go to the doctor for those physicals, make sure you tell your doctor to take your vitamin D levels. Now, they're getting better. They're starting to do it more, but some still are not doing it. So ask your doctor to take your vitamin D levels, because if it's really low, the doctor's going to give you vitamin D2, right? But if it's like a little bit, it's like, hey, make sure you take a vitamin D3 every day. I take a vitamin D3 every day. And so recently, myself and one of my doctors, Dr. Monica, we did research with magnesium. So I'm loving magnesium. That's my magnesium is actually a mineral. We think of it as vitamin, but it's a mineral, but it helps you the majority of us don't get what we need in foods, right? We don't get the vitamins and the minerals that we need in food, so we have to take a supplement. So magnesium, again, when you, I'm gonna ask my mom, I know she's watching, but because she does have the arthritis, the magnesium helps. So I played tennis in college, so I have a knee problem, I have a shoulder problem, and sometimes I have tall people problem, I have back cramps, but the magnesium takes all of this away. I have none of that, I promise you. This is real, unless I injure the knee. Now, if I injure the knee, it's totally different, right? But magnesium, if you're not sleeping at night, again with your vitamin D, if you're not sleeping, if you're having acid reflux. I recently talked to the gastroenterologist, right? And I was talking to him. He didn't know, because he's on the synthetic side, right? He didn't know. I was telling him that I had acid reflux. And crazy thing, I'm not a big eater, but I have anxiety. So anxiety gives you some acid reflux, right? So I was telling him, now it's been 7 months since I've taken an acid reflux pill, and I would take one every day. Or I can't eat Mexican food, or I can't eat beef. Some things I couldn't do because I didn't want it to bother the acid reflux. But since I take the magnesium, I'm not bothered with the acid reflux. So magnesium helps with a lot of things. And there are different types of, I take the citrate, because the citrate helps with your digestion. And it helps with, if you're not going to you should be using the bathroom and having a bowel movement every day. And if you're not, you probably need some magnesium with that as well, right? So I take the magnesium. So on my website at blackpink.org, or my social media, which is also blackpink.org, I have on there all the different types of magnesium, and I have what they are needed for. Okay. So you can go on there, you can look, what do I need it for? Do I need it for joints? Do I need it for heart? What do I need it for? And then you can see the type of magnesium that you need. But here's what's important when you're taking the magnesium and the vitamin D. You have to take a multivitamin. So you say, well, let me tell you what I do in the morning. In the morning, I wake up, I take my multivitamin, I take my vitamin D. At night, I take my magnesium. So it's important to also take your magnesium at night, because magnesium relaxes your blood vessels and it kind of puts you to sleep, right? Because somebody said, I took that magnesium, I was sleeping during the day. I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, you got to take it at night. And some people want to go to sleep. It relaxes you and you can go to sleep. But what's most important when you take magnesium and vitamin D is that you take a multivitamin, because these vitamins and minerals, they need a car to get inside the cell. Otherwise, you're just going to poop it out. So you got to take a multivitamin. Everyone should be taking a multivitamin. If you're over 50, take a 50+ multivitamin. If you're not, just take a regular multivitamin. It is very important. Everyone should be taking a multivitamin, a vitamin D3, and magnesium. And again, you can go on blackpink.org, which is all my social media as well as my website. And you can see the type of magnesium that you use. And then come back and let me know. Send me an email, reach out to me, let me know. Dr. Burks, this helped. Dr. Burks, this didn't help. I have not had anybody to say that it does not help. I really do I'm really a nerd, y'all. I really would like people to know that, so I'm telling y'all it's a secret. So I do a lot of research because I want to make sure that I'm giving you information that studies have been done with a lot of people and that it works, right? And then I use myself, right? So I'm telling you, when I told the gastroenterologist, he's like, I'm going to start telling patients because I work with him and he trusts my word. He's like, I'm really going to start telling patients to take this magnesium citrate for the acid reflux because he was curious does this work, right? So I'm telling him, I'm like, I'm happy when it's going to be a year. And that's really big for me because I would take a pill every day, right?
Wonderful. One last question.
Okay.
Since we're on that topic, can you speak a little bit about clinical trials and specifically to our community?
Yes. I get a lot of questions because I am a public health educator about clinical trials. Because now here's the thing about clinical trials. Now I know we all know about the Tuskegee experiment because I went to Tuskegee and I'm public health, and so we've talked about it a million things, right? A million times. And really and truly, the Tuskegee experiment was not a clinical trial, right? They were just injecting these men with the syphilis and they wasn't telling them the truth, right? But a clinical trial is when someone of color, because this is who mostly needs it. But they come out with new drugs, right? Synthetic drugs that are made in the lab. We don't know if it works on people of color because we don't have people volunteering to say, I have heart disease, or I have hypertension or high blood pressure. I have diabetes, and I need to go to let them give me this medicine to see if it works with someone who looks like me, right? So I believe in clinical trials, but I am a really big person who vets. Who's doing it? What are they doing it for? What is the outcome that they're looking? So I think if you ask those questions, I think that we should be involved with clinical trials more, just because our population dies more of certain things like heart disease, right? I saw one recently about high blood pressure. We die more. It's not that we have the diseases more, right? It's just that we don't trust, we don't go get tested, and we don't get involved with clinical trials to see what blood pressure medicines may work better with us, right? What protocols what protocols may work better with us to say that I should take this is not going to work, or I should combine this with this, right? And that's important. And so when they have these clinical trials, the trials to help us decide, does this work better with men? Or does it work better with women? Because we're the same, but we're different, right? Sure. And so our hormones are different, right? So it's important to have these clinical trials to see what are the changes that are made when you take it versus me versus our counterparts, right? So I believe in clinical trials, but do your homework. Now that you can Google. This one time I'm giving you permission. You can Google about the lab or whomever is doing the clinical trials.
Wonderful. Well, great. Well, that's all the questions I had. Kim, do we have any questions from the audience? Or any questions online?
Yes, I have questions.
Yes.
Okay, so our first question is about Cologuard. And this patient wanted to know if you could speak on how Cologuard is not as effective in later years.
Yeah, well, no, see, according to the doctor, gastroenterologist who governs your colon, they want you to come into the doctor's office, right? So if you're in a rural area and you can't get in, then I guess you can use that Cologuard. But if you can get to a doctor, then go to a doctor. Now, if it's a case where you don't have insurance, which is a whole nother conversation, we can help you get insurance, or we can send you to a clinic that take people with no insurance. Okay. But it's most important to try to go in with the doctor. I think Cologuard is a marketing tool. It's been commercialized because I think people know that, colon cancers have been up on the rise. And because of this, they're using you and your marketing dollars for their gain. Is necessary, not for you, right? It sounds good, right? But really and truly, you need to be coming in from the doctor, the gastroenterologist who governs your colon, to get the test done.
I think that's what they wanted you to say, because this person said that they took the Cologuard but found out later on that they had a couple of masks that needed to be surgically removed. So,
and it cannot see that. Yes, it cannot test that.
So the next question you actually just touched on, a lot of people in this area lack insurance. Are there places that they can go to get quality health care without insurance?
Yes, so that's a very good question. Recently, I think it's been probably about 4 or 5 months now. Southern Regional Hospital, I don't know if most know it, in the back of the hospital, they have a clinic that they can see you if you don't have insurance. And also, they have partnered with a prescription drug company that they can write you a prescription and you don't have to pay. So I am very excited about that. I try to tell people everywhere I go. Also, in Morrow, there's also a clinic that sees people certain days a week. I think maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If they see people for free on those days. So if you Google those, there's some things that you can be Googling. You can Google that, right? That's correct. It's a Shepherd Clinic. Thank you so much. It's a Shepherd Clinic. They will see you. I have been over there. I have spoken with them, and I do like them. So there are a lot of places that you can go if you don't have insurance.
Great. Any other? Kim?
Yes. And I would like to just provide a testimonial. And thank you so much for coming out and speaking about this, because this is so important for all of us to know and to gain more information. Well, my testimonial is I got a chance to hear you talk about magnesium at our staff development day that we have for the Clayton County Library System. And I actually ran right out and purchased some. And then I had a follow-up appointment with my doctor. And what I found out from my test results was that I am magnesium deficient. And so she said, "How did you know how to start taking it?" So I told her everything that happened. And I just want to say thank you because when I started taking the magnesium, I started feeling really good, really alive. I would wake up and just feel just energized. And so that's my testimonial. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
that information.
Thank you for listening and actually putting the words into action. Absolutely.
And again, that's why we do what we do. And that's why I think this platform is so important and so valuable. If it's just one person, two persons, 200 in the community that hear this information, then I think it's well worth it. So thank you for that testimony.
Hey, Dr. Burks. April is Autism Awareness Month. Do you have some tidbits for families, caregivers for their own mental health and awareness of things that they can do that allows them to not feel so stressed?
Absolutely. So I should also say that I partner with some autism organization, nonprofits that can also help. But I think what's important is that when you are a caregiver is to take care of yourself. As we've heard a million times, when you're in an airplane, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. I say to fill your cup up first. Take a moment. And I know you wake up in the morning, you have a routine. You're going to take care of this person. You're going to get them breakfast. But get up a few minutes early. That's what I do. My doctor told me years ago, or her physician assistant told me, don't allow work to be your whole entire day. Let it be a part of your day. Now, what do you mean? What does she mean? She meant to get up in the morning before it's time for you to go to work. And when it's time to go to work, that's just the part of the day that you go. So I wake up at 5, I do yoga, I'm gonna meditate, I may read, and then I'm always gonna listen to music, and then I'm ready for my day. So the day and the job and the work is not controlling me, but I'm controlling my day because I've decided I'm gonna get up early and do these things prior to, right? Those things are important. So when we say take care of yourself, when you are a caregiver, if it's with autistic or with an elderly parent, it is important that you take some time for yourself, even if it's an hour. You can do a lot to just relax yourself. If it's reading, if it's dancing, I dance a lot too, y'all. I dance a lot and I sing a lot and I listen to music a lot. I have a record player and I have music in every room, and that's me. That's what I do. There's no music, no life for me, right? I go to a lot of concerts. I love music because that's how I fill my cup up. And if you see me at a concert, I don't want to talk about public health. Now, I know people try to talk to me about it. I say, you get one question because I'm here for the concert. I'm trying to fill my cup up and I pour out today, right? But it's important that we have something that is yours, that is just yours. And it's going to be hard to do because we're so, especially women, if you will, we're so wearing 99 hats, right? We wear 99 hats, and it's so, where's our hat that we're wearing? We're taking care of everyone else. So it's very important that if it's just an hour, intentional thought, intentional action, if it's just an hour a day that you take out time for yourself and make it a habit. They say that I say 21 days make a habit. They said it's not, technically it doesn't. But if you do something for 21 days, you're gonna want to do it over and over and over again, right? Most people don't make their beds up in the morning time. If you start making that bed up after a week, if you don't make it up, you're gonna be like, well, something's different in my room because you didn't make the bed up, right? Because that's gonna allow you to have some peace to declutter things to have in your mind. So just take an hour a day, just start with an hour and have that time to be just your time, not your spouse time, not your partner's time, not your kids' time, but your time. Now that may mean getting up early, right? Or going to bed late. Probably it's better to get up early. So you can just have that time for yourself.
Wonderful. Any additional questions?
Yes, we do have a couple of more
Okay.
questions. But I also want to say, my therapist said the same thing. She said 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes at night. And if I don't take it, then who I got an attitude?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, how you guys doing today?
Good. Good morning.
I'm just so happy to see everyone here. So, Dr. Burks,
Yes.
let me give you guys some real time of what just happened. So, I'm in an industry where I give, and I was in a place where I felt depleted. What am I doing? Who am I now? And now I feel like I was going to jump off the deep end, and that's not what God has for me, to be in like feeling like that, because you can't operate at your highest self. So today I made a commitment to pause life for a couple of minutes. I said, okay, you got to do something different if you want different results, because you have people flying to you from all over the world and they're showing up for a reason. So you got to show up for yourself. So I said, okay, it was this therapist by the name of Dr. King, and she's so good, but her process is kind of lengthy. So I just never really took the time to come print stuff out and do all that. I said, but you made a commitment to yourself. Get up, do it today. So I was at my sister's house because it was storm last night, and I don't want to be by myself. I went over there, I got up, I Googled nearest library, okay? Came here just to print some stuff out. I saw this stuff over here, but I really didn't think. I said, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Anyway, I'm on the computer printing the stuff out for my therapist appointment so I can get it done. So I got to fill my cup up, right? Then I hear Dr. Burks talking. I said, what is this? So I'm still typing, and I hear about just equipping people, about empowering women, podcasts. I said, okay, now this get a little something, right? This is just stuff that's been in my spirit, and I was just like, God, just talk to me. And then he was talking through Dr. Burke, and I wasn't really supposed to be here. I guess I was supposed to be here today, and then like just giving you, just people need to be in positions like that, because most time it is about education. It's about community. It's feeling like you're in a safe space. It's feeling like you don't have to do life alone. It's about just empowering yourself so then you can be in a good place to really empower other people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll try to connect you guys.
Thank you. Ashe, thank you.
And things happen for a reason.
Well, I too want to say thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
You shared a lot of information, and I also have the same testimony as sharing. In the morning, I do my multivitamin, my vitamin D, and at night, I do my magnesium. And what I found out, excuse me, if I forget to do it, if I wake up and I can't go back to sleep, I get up and take my magnesium, and shortly I go back to sleep. And the beauty of that is the next morning I'm still not groggy. I can take it, go back to sleep, and start. Now, the last time you was with us, we were going into the winter, and you told us to do a winter tune-up on ourselves. Now, there's a misconception that African Americans don't need sunscreen. Is there a tune-up that you would recommend for us and things that we need to keep in the house during the summer?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. I was telling you about my daughter. I only have one child, and she's my mini-me. She's my mirror. And she was just recently home. And we were getting ready to go outside. And she came in my bathroom and she said, "Did you put your sunscreen on?" Because this child is like, Mommy, do you have your sunscreen on, right? Because most Afro descendants or Black people, especially in my complexion, I don't need any sunscreen, right? Well, I have a friend who has a bald head and he had a bump on his head and it was cancer, right? And so he has been really big, but I also talked to the dermatologist and we do need the sunscreen to protect us because the sun is really, really, and I play tennis. So, I put it on my face and my arms but even me, I may not do it every day. So now what I do is keep it out so I can remember to put, like today, I put some on, I put my regular moisturizer on and I put the sunscreen on top, right? And so as people of color, we say, oh, but it's gonna leave a film on their face. I don't have a film on my face, you see? So you just have to find one that works for you, and there are a lot out there. You have to find one that works for you, but you should be using sunscreen. And the other thing is, you see, I'm up here, I have my water. This is small water. Now, I don't like these small bottles, y'all. Let me tell y'all.